What's up, YouTube? Today we have a 79 Ford Bronco, and we're gonna put a lift on it. So let me get some stuff gathered up and we'll get to it. All these parts. Okay, so we're doing a all-spring lift on this Bronco of the rough country flavor. So just opening it up. Here's all four of our shocks. 2 springs for the front. U-bolts for the rear. Rear leaf springs. Drop bracket for the panhard. And these guys. So this is what is going to, can you see? You can kind of see how it offsets the front axle. Puts a little twist to it. So when you get it up in the air, everything's still happy and where it needs to be. The only thing I don't see that comes with this all-spring kit is a dropped pitman arm, which we'll put it together, take it for a spin, see if we need it or not. Normally when you don't run one, maybe it'll be different with this one, we'll see. You get a little bit of bump steer if you don't have the drop pitman arm to go with drop panhard bracket. So let's start. Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's start with the front. Let's start with the front. So first thing we'll need to do, get rid of the old shocks. This bolt right here is what's holding the top of your old coil spring. This little bracket, there's a bolt there. There should be, if I remember right, there's one right in the middle holding that guy too. Zap that out. And then the bottom, there should be some bolts in there. I don't know. I'm sure there is, but you can't see them. There's gonna be one on either side of that C down there that holds that in place. I didn't see brake lines either, so I'm gonna order some brake lines because that one looks not happy. So I'll order some brake lines. We'll get all this tore off. Something else you want to make sure you get out of the way is your steering stabilizer, because as you're moving everything up and down, that guy will get bent up. But this should be pretty straightforward, really. So I'll grab some tools. I'm probably going to go up and down with the forklift, since this is going to have to go up and down a million times. There's my Mega. And we'll start tearing apart. While we're waiting for the forklift to warm up, we're going to go ahead and soak everything within an inch of its life with a good penetrating oil spray, whatever, and liberally reapply every chance we get, because after this is all done, we got to take the top off, and this is going to get replaced because, well, because it needs to be. And these old cars just love not coming apart. So when you pull in, you get ready to your lift while you're having your first beer. Spray everything down real good. You won't fight it as much later. Okay. You see that bolt in there? It's a little tip for these. Get your socket in there. To get it in there, get the weight off the top. Grab that spring and pull it over. It'll spread those coils so you can pop that ratchet through, because normally they won't fit. But if you do that, it'll normally give you just enough. You can give that a little pop. Get that ratchet in there to make it easier to get those two out, because those are normally pretty tight from being locked in there for, I don't know, 40 years, whatever, however old this thing is. So I'm gonna keep going at this, and we'll get the other side this far. We'll pop that C apart. You can see there's 4 bolts holding it, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. See how bad that bushing's got. It's forward there. It's all split out here. Anyway, anywho, we'll get the new C bushings put in the right position so that it rotates that axle. Pop the new springs back in, and other than a drop bracket at the front, I'll be done. Got everything tore apart. There is our front cap. It's actually not bad. There's not much. You're going to want to watch for any sort of like rust scale or buildup or dirt or anything on your front cap, the wedge on your axle, and the inside of your radius arm. This is going to be the most important part about this lift install. If you look in there, it'll say rear bottom. These are a 7-degree offset for the axle. So by rear bottom, it's just how it sounds. It's going to go towards the rear of the axle on the bottom. If you flip it over, it'll say front bottom. So it would be on the front of the axle, and that would be the bottom. So if you lay these down, rear bottom that way, this one's going to be opposing, front bottom that way. You want to make sure that you grease these. You're going to want to grease the outside here. You're going to want to grease the inside here. You're going to want to put some grease on the axle right here too. It's not super important what kind of grease you use. Like, I'm just going to use this because I have it laying around. Mostly what that grease is for is so that when you put these in and you start tightening everything together, it lets everything move and adjust to where it needs to be sitting by the time everything's tight. Nothing gets hung up along the way. Like that rubber isn't going to get bound up on something and stay there and shift a bushing or something. It just helps everything locate itself as you're tightening. Something else you're going to want, these are the bolts that we took out. We have 2 longer bolts to put it back together. So what we'll do is we'll do a longer bolt like there, and we'll do a longer bolt on the opposing side on the bottom to start tightening it together. And once we get as far as these bolts will let us, that should be close enough that we can get the factory bolts in, and the opposite 2 that we don't, that would be left open, we'll take up the pressure with those, then we'll take these out and put the other 2 factory bolts in to finish taking it together. You need to make sure that these are in there right, or you'll get what's referred to as the Bronco lean. Like if you get one side incorrectly and the other side flipped, it'll cause the vehicle to lean and sit weird. So pay attention to this part. It's not hard by any means, but pay special attention to this when you're doing a lift on first gen Bronco, second gen Bronco, anytime you have this radius arm set up. So I'm gonna play in the grease, get this put together. If you do have a lot of rust scale or dirt or anything else, take a wire wheel, get it cleaned off real good. This one's not bad enough to really worry about, but I'm gonna get dirty, so I'll be back in a minute. All right, something you're gonna run into a lot on these older ones you gotta lift. Let's see, we got the front down. We got the bolt out of the back there, which was surprising. But this is what you're gonna run into a lot. So this is gonna get loud. But watch that leaf spring. See that moving up and down? The steel sleeve inside of this is rusted to this bolt. And you're running into this a lot on older stuff that you're lifting. And the fastest way is just grab your Sawzall and run it right up in between there. Just cut that bolt on both sides and replace it. And that'll save you a lot of heartache, especially if you just plan on it. Like, don't waste a whole lot of time on these, because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have this problem. So I'm gonna get that cut, and then I'm just gonna cut these, because these can also be a bear, and so you're gonna be better off just to whack those off, and we'll set some new springs in here. Okay, we got the old one cut out. It's gone. Start putting the new one in. And we're not quite making it, and it's because of this. That's just right in the way. And of course, it has the double, I don't want to go anywhere and I'm going to make your life miserable exhaust hanger. So probably split that right behind that one, in the middle of those two. Get rid of that guy because that just seems a little redundant to me. And we'll have to do a new, you know, letter breather thing. Exhaust tip hanging out the back. But I mean, you can kind of see this is a pretty standard, easy ordeal. Just set her up on some jack stands, run it up and down there. I still got to cut that front bolt on the other side. I just I don't want to yet. I'm working up to that. So, and then it looks like we'll have to wait and see for sure. But that's awfully stretched. We might have to extend that drive line too. So I'm gonna cut that apart now and get back to it. Here we are, all finished up. Love that sticker, by the way. So we got springs in, shocks in, everything's in, done. I'll have to deal with that a little bit later. Front end all went together nice. The only thing I'm gonna say, guys, this did not come with the, ooh, I'm bleeding. Anyway, this did not come with radius arm bushings. This is a rough country lift. This is their all spring 4-inch. It didn't come with those. It didn't come with brake lines, and it didn't come with bushings for the shackle in the back. So if you're gonna do this, order those ahead of time, because it's a good thing that this is staying here for some other stuff, so that'll all have time to show up, so we can get it put on before it leaves. But I mean, really, that needs to be done anytime you lift a vehicle. Here's the other side. And then it figures this was supposed to be just to throw it on. I talked to the owner, I don't know, a couple hours ago, probably. And he asked if it was too late to have all that cleaned up and painted. So, oh well. But yeah, there we are. Let's see if I can get a good shot of this without going outside. Man, those tires are dinky. He's ordering tires, so hopefully by the time we get everything else done on this tire show up, so we can really get a good look at this thing and see. So I started on some of the body work. This was caved in and creased all through here. It was crease there. Rusted out down here. We're gonna do a tailgate. We're gonna do a quarter panel on the other side, but that's a story for another day. So for now, for today, that's it. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe, and next time we'll really tear this guy apart.